So when we started attending here and decided we were going to invest ourselves in being members, that said, well, we should probably get them baptized. So they were baptized at an older age. So that was, I think, a unique experience for my family in general, where everyone is Catholic and everyone is baptized as a baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was cool.
I love the people.
It is.
I love the people. They're so friendly, and actually, I want to go way back to when I first came here. There was one lady in this church congregation that was just so welcoming. And Jamie Finkbeiner was her name, and she was just kind of took us in as her people and just showed us what to do and everything, and invited us to Sunday school and stuff. Made me feel very comfortable. I just feel like I'm growing more towards my life with Christ.
Both of our girls have gone through confirmation. Our youngest son, Scotty, who's
So I'm just going to tell you right now, this is what the timer's going to do. The timer's going to start the watch at 7 minutes. So at 6 minutes, you're going to see this. If you're already done, don't worry about this. But if you're not done, you'll see this come up. And then with 30 seconds left till 7 minutes, you'll see that it's 6:30. So you've got 30 seconds to finish because they have to be done at 7 minutes. Okay? So when you see these, don't be panicked. Okay, that's I'm just showing this to you, all right? You guys, okay? All right. So he's going to be sitting right here, and so you will be giving your speeches from here. So he'll be here. So don't try to be as inconspicuous as possible, so you guys don't freak out. But when you see this, then you'll just know you have a minute left. Okay? The judges just will know. You'll know.
It's like, here's lunch and dinner for tomorrow.
Anybody that's out here, there's bottles of water out in the narthex to the right. If you want to bring water in here, you can. There's snacks. You can have snacks afterwards or in between the contestants, or when you want, but we just keep the snacks out there instead of bringing them here. But you can bring in water if you want, if it gets kind of warm for you.
Testing, testing. Testing. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's 34th annual Right to Life Oratory Contest. It's a pleasure to see you all in the audience this evening, and welcome orators. I'm Julie Moore, and I'd like to start, if we could, with prayer. So if we could just bow our heads. Holy Father, we're just so thankful to be together tonight, Lord. Just here to promote your cause for life. Father, we know, Lord, that you are the creator of life. And in that light, Lord, we want to be your voices for the unborn from conception to the tomb. So, Holy Lord, we're just thankful again to be here tonight and pray over our contestants. Father, we just pray that you allow them to be relaxed, if that could be, Father. Help them to be able to focus in on their words, Father, and just to be your word for life. Father, we just pray over this evening and for those, Father, that will watch this contest as well in the future, and ask for your blessing. In Jesus' holy name, amen.
Thank you, Julie. So what I would like to do now is go backwards. Chris Yider and myself, Jamie Anderson, are the co-chairs for the Lenawee County Right to Life Oratory Contest, and Chris is doing some things right now, so she'll be up here in a minute, but we just want to welcome you here live, and those of you that are watching, thank you for supporting these students who are finding their voice for life. So our contest here in Lenawee County is part of the Michigan Right to Life Oratory Contest, and as Julie told you, it is in its 34th year. There are 28 county contests around the state. Ours is kind of in the middle of the contest, and so the person that wins our county contest will go on to the state contest, and that state contest is in Charlotte. I got to pronounce that right. Charlotte, Michigan, in May. So one of you will be going to Charlotte on Saturday, May 20th, to represent Lenawee County in the state contest. So these contests are open to all pro-life high school students in Michigan. So you might be thinking, well, how does this work? Contestants research, write, and present an original pro-life speech on one of these topics. No, they don't. They construct a thesis. Okay, they construct a thesis. They have content. These are the things that the criteria that the judges are looking for in the contest. So they'll be looking for your thesis or your structure, the content of your speech, the understanding or coverage of pro-life topics, your overall presentation, and then the judge's overall opinion. So there are 5 criteria that our 3 judges tonight will be looking for in these speeches, okay? And this is the same criteria that all 28 counties follow. So what these students have done is something that will benefit them. Their public speaking skills, their critical thinking skills, their persuasive arguments, and then having a constructive discussion on life and death issues. So this is why this Right to Life Oratory Contest is so important for high school students who are trying to find their voice for life. So our contestants tonight are Richard Stansberry, Olivia Spielman, Katie Shane, Sam Shane, and K.D. Richardson. And they've just drawn for which place they will be presenting their speeches in. So Sam is going to be first, Richard is second, Olivia is third, Katie is fourth, and KD is fifth. There are prizes that come with this. Thank you to the Lenawee County Right to Life Committee. First place, $200, second place, $100, and third place, $50. And so those are the awards that will be given to you tonight. So the person that wins at the state level then goes on to the national contest, and that's in June in Pittsburgh. And so first place winners from all the states who participate will be in Pittsburgh in June. So we have with us tonight a special guest. Jamie Stiver won the county level last year, and she is now a college student. She can tell you where she's at, but I think Jamie was quite surprised last year that winning came with a check, which was a delight for her. But I'm just going to ask Jamie to talk to you 5 contestants.
Yeah, so last year I came and I spoke. I actually wasn't expecting to win anything. I was just totally overjoyed with the fact that, oh my goodness, I get to come up here and talk about life, and this is amazing. Yeah, but right now I am a sophomore at Olivet College. I'm studying business and insurance. And I wanted to tell you guys that, okay, yes, it's kind of scary to like get up and talk in front of people, and oh my goodness, that was insanely terrifying to me when I talked to everyone. But what's the most important thing on earth, right? It's people. That's like, you know how Jesus said, like, store up your treasure in heaven. What's he mean? On earth, it's people. So store up your treasure. And it's really important, and especially applies to the unborn because they're people too. And it's very, very, when you defend the hopeless, not the hopeless, the helpless, when you defend the helpless and support them when they can't do anything for themselves, that's admirable. So what you guys are doing is admirable. It's amazing. And admirable is a great quality that Christ says to look out for. And I especially wanted to say, it takes a lot of courage because in society today, you could be labeled closed-minded or insensitive to anything that goes against the social norms, right? But in my experience, when you stand up for things that you believe in, like the truth, it gives you courage, it gives you confidence, and it will tell people, hey, maybe I should rethink this and not just go along with the bandwagon of the social norms and go along with it. Maybe I should research it. Maybe I should look into it. And you can definitely impact people and influence them and show them, hey, this is what's right. So good luck to all of you guys, and I'm very excited for you all. This is absolutely amazing. So thank you.
So what Chris and I are going to do now is we are going to introduce to you our judges for tonight. So, Chris, you want to introduce the first judge?
Yes. Mr. Palpant, or Paul Palpant, many of you know as a servant leader in our community, our churches, and our civic life around this area. Paul was a Lenawee County farm boy who graduated from Adrian College, and he taught math at the Hudson schools. God later called him in 1982 to be the first elementary principal at the growing Trenton Hills Church that many of you have heard of. And he was a part of the guiding team that led the transition of Trenton Hills into the present Lenawee Christian School building. He was very innovative in starting a lot of the traditions that remain today. There he served as principal and superintendent until he retired in 2010. But Paul has not stopped working in his retirement. He's been a leading influence in LCS, filling in many positions since then, in churches, in local and state politics, and much more. And then he's here tonight with us. So Paul is married to Gail Palpant. I think she's here tonight. His partner in all he does. Together they have 3 adult children, and we're fortunate that he's come tonight to be one of our judges, as we know that he has a strong desire for the right to life and to see young students be able to participate in this ongoing issue that we have before us. Okay, so that is Paul. Thank you for coming.
And let's give him a round. Great. And our second judge tonight is Mark Lentz. Mark is a senior communications specialist for Gleaner Life Insurance Society, which is a Christian-based fraternal group headquartered here in Adrian, Michigan. Prior to that, he worked full-time in newspapers in the newsroom at several newspapers for 37 years, including the final 13 at the Adrian Daily Telegram as editor-in-chief. Mark was born and raised in California. He spent 21 years in Nevada, and Michigan has put up with him for the last 23 years. Mark told me to say that. He and his wife, Jill, have 4 grown children. Mark and Jill support the Care Pregnancy Center of Lenawee, and they both volunteer for Share the Warmth, which is a homeless shelter here in Adrian. Mark's an active member of St. John's Lutheran Church, and he is honored to be judging the Right to Life Oratory Contest for the 4th time. So help me welcome Mark Lenz.
And our third judge is Julianne Lark, who comes from a strong, active, pro-life family in Tecumseh. In fact, I think her parents are here tonight. One of her sisters attended the pro-life march in D.C. Several years ago, and you will always see them at the annual fundraiser dinners, I believe. I've seen them there. Julianne was an oratory contest participant in 2018 and 2019, winning 3rd and 2nd places, respectively. She graduated from Lenawee Christian High School. She was involved in theater and drama, played the piano, and sang, in addition to volunteering a lot with her church. She's currently a senior at Siena Heights University, double majoring in business administration and religious studies. There, she's a part of several clubs, including a pro-life group called Life for All. This year, she's also been the student government president for this academic year, and I'm sure that they've done a lot of neat things under your leadership. She also internshiped this fall for Care Pregnancy Center, working on their website and all the things that they have to market, or they have to offer. She was in the marketing, right? Am I right on that? Okay. She's applying now to grad schools and hopes to work in a church or nonprofit in the future. She's a pro at both participating and judging. Is this your third year. So we have a couple that know exactly what they're doing. And I'm not sure, Paul, you were scheduled once, but I think you had to miss. So he knows how to do everything, right? So we're glad to have all 3 of you here tonight because you're an integral part.
So what we're going to do now is start the contest. So Chris and I are going to be over here introducing the contestants, and so the contestants can now get themselves comfortable at the lectern over there while we're over here. So our first contestant, they just drew their numbers, is Sam Shane. So Sam, you can get yourself comfortable over there. Sam's a freshman at Lenawee Christian School. She enjoys sports and runs track and cross country. She also plays volleyball and basketball. However, her favorite sport is soccer. When not participating in sports, Sam enjoys her 4-H club and works with her lambs. She enjoys participating in the fair and working with her dad on the farm. We're glad that Sam is joining her sister tonight in participating in this year's Right to Life Oratory Contest here in Lenawee County. So Sam is going to begin her speech. We have a timer, and so the timer is right here in the front row. The speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, and so Sam's just going to know when it's 6 minutes. She's going to see a little 1 down there, and then when it's 30 seconds, she'll know that she has 30 seconds left. So, Sam, whenever you're ready, you can begin, and your timer will begin at that time.
Abortion is a controversial topic. In fact, as soon as the word is even brought up, people's blood pressure goes up and emotions escalate. Why does this topic elicit such an emotional response? Well, we know from experience that individuals react emotionally when the consequences of an action has moral implications. Supporters of abortion argue that this issue is a personal one. It is merely an individual's right to choose. This is the message that this platform is adamant to push. It has infiltrated social media, television, and even our legal system. around the country. It is the message that has become the only socially acceptable position. It is presented as truth to our students in schools, advocated in health clinics, and even proposed as a moral option in some churches. The supporters of abortion do not want you to look at the truth. They want to present an easy argument, one that does not require you to think about the issue for yourself. They demand that you believe abortion is merely a right and not a murder. They want to control the narrative and therefore control the outcome. This is why the topic of abortion elicits such an emotional response from people. The pro-life movement refuses to surrender to this narrative and is fighting for truth, fighting against the moral degradation of society based upon a lie. Pro-life advocates know that society is being led to not think of the moral implications of abortion, but instead blindly following what they are told. The message of indoctrination begins on the internet and social media. When you look up the term abortion online, what do you read? You read, abortion access is a human right. Abortion rights are good health care and good science. Safe and legal abortion is a woman's human right. And abortion is sacred. How ridiculous. These titles are confusing at best, but they highlight the main message that is trying to be communicated. These articles want to convince you that it is a human right to kill another human being. Think about that. It is a human right to kill another human being. Interesting that the same people that are proponents of abortion being a human right have been given that right by being allowed to be born. President Ronald Reagan agreed with this thought when he said, with regard to the freedom of the individual for choice, with regard to abortion, there is one individual who is not being considered at all, and that is the one who is being aborted. And I noticed that everyone who is for abortion has already been born. The internet and social media are not the only places where this lie is being pushed. We see it in various legislations throughout the country. For example, in 2022, there were 6 ballot measures addressing abortion. One titled Proposal 3 was introduced in Michigan. The intention of Proposal 3 was to make reproductive freedom a state constitutional right. Reproductive freedom was defined as the right to make and effectuate decisions about all matters relating to pregnancy, including but not limited to prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum care, contraception, sterilization, abortive care, miscarriage management, and infertility care. This proposal wanted to make sure that the state could not make any laws that prohibited abortion or the right for a mom to terminate her pregnancy, no matter the reason. The proposal equates the ability to terminate life with the term reproductive freedom. In Michigan, the voters believed this lie. They voted Proposal 3 into the law, showing that they believe that the killing of innocent life, even up to the time of delivery, is the right of the woman. This lie stands contrary to the very foundation where our country was built upon. However, pro-abortionists do not want you to consider the law at its core. If you do look closely, you will find a promise that states human beings should be protected from all lethal violence. This promise is seen in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is the fundamental job of the government to not kill. And there is no way to deny that abortion is a form of killing. As scientific research continues to advance, we can no longer believe that an embryo or a fetus is somehow a non-living entity. We now have the evidence that the embryo is not merely a cell with potential, but however a distinct human organism that comes into existence at conception. It is alive at every stage of biological life. The embryo is part of a continuous process that begins as a zygote. This knowledge came from our advanced study in embryology. Without a doubt, abortion kills a unique member of our species, an act that in almost every other context is forbidden by the law. Television and movies are also selling the lie that there is no moral attachment to the decision of whether to have an abortion or not. In the popular British television show Doc Martin, for example, there's a scene where Doc Martin's girlfriend becomes pregnant. When the doctor finally learns of the pregnancy, he explains that he will support her no matter her decision. She may choose to have an abortion or to have the child. Either choice is acceptable. Although this conversation may seem harmless and supportive, having the main character and a doctor at that state that both choices are equally accessible, the media is trying to remove the moral implications of abortion and trying to sell abortion as merely a choice, a right that is more important than the life that this couple is disregarding. This is extremely concerning. By seeing abortion as merely a right granted, we are devaluing all life. Again, President Ronald Reagan would agree. We cannot diminish the value of one category of human life, the unborn, without diminishing the value of all human life. How do we combat and fight against the abortion lie that we are being sold? We think, we gather evidence, we share truth with each other, we support unwed mothers and children, and we stand up against the indoctrination of our community. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Sam. So my job tonight is to come up here and entertain you, if I can, in between the contestants. So the judges have just a minute or two to chat with each other. And I'd like to thank, by the way, St. John's for allowing us to be here tonight. This is just such a blessing. It's a wonderful place to be. So what I'd like to do is start off with a little bit of a legislative update, right? To recap here, prior to Roe v. Wade, remember that states used to have the ability to decide on the laws of abortion on their own. So we here in Michigan at that point were able to rely on that 1846 law that made abortion illegal. And a 1931 law then that made performing an abortion a felony with up to $5,000 fine. So then here it came, right? January 22nd, 1973, when the Supreme Court of the United States took that power from the states when it determined that a set of Texas statutes criminalizing abortion in most instances violated a woman's constitutional right of privacy. So that was their opinion. This constitutional right of privacy, which found these statutes to be implicit in the liberty guarantee of the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. So we all know this law is known as Roe v. Wade. This was a federal law that trumped all state laws and lasted for 50 years. On January 24th, 2022, Roe v. Wade was overturned. I can think of that as a day that I would think back on. You know, there's a few days throughout your lifetime that you think back and say, oh my gosh, I remember what I was doing that day. It was just such a great day. And that was one of those days. So it was an exciting day that the Supreme Court gave those powers of abortion back to the states. That meant then that in Michigan, abortion was illegal and a felony, again, by that 1931 law, which had been only partially enforceable since Roe v. Wade. All too soon, however, after the Supreme Court decision, the forces of pro-abortion legislators and our governor, were at work to pass Proposal 3, the Reproductive Freedom Act for All. This constitutional amendment allows for unlimited abortions in Michigan. So since then, what's been going on? The Michigan legislature, of course, has now deemed that the 1931 law is overturned. And we can be thankful to our own Senator Joe Bellino, who's been working to pass a fetal health deduction bill, Senate Bill 9, that allows a pregnant mom to claim an unborn child who has attained 12 weeks of gestation. So that's an awesome thing that some of our local legislators are doing, our own Joe Bellino, so we're thankful for that. On the other hand, however, we do have Senator Erica Geis with Senate Bill 2, which was introduced January 12th and referred to the Senate Health Policy Committee. And that was an abortion ban an abortion advertising ban repeal. So in other words, saying that now they can actually advertise some of the home guides and procedures making abortion drugs. Now, at the federal level, we do have our own Congressional Representative Tim Walberg, who has been busy standing up for parents. So we're thankful for him with the My Protect Parents or Kids Act, keeping schools accountable to parents when it comes to name and gender information. And that was approved by the House 6 days ago. So we're proud to have these pro-life legislators representing us here in our county. So in response to the passage of Proposal 3, the Right to Life and other pro-life agencies are organizing a March for Life, which will be on November 8th. So that was the day that Proposal 3 was passed. And this March for Life will take place in Lansing. And the Right to Life, as well as those other groups, are actually working hard to encourage quite a turnout for this event. So they're actually hoping to have over 5,000 people march on Lansing on that day, November 8th of this year. It will start at 11 a.m. They are actually doing a great job trying to really organize this event. So if you go to the Right to Life website, which I would like to encourage you to do, you would be able to sign up and register as someone who is going so that they can really do a good job of organizing how many people do we have. They'd love to see big signs saying, hey, Lenawee County, and how many people does Lenawee County have present at this event. So it sounds like it's going to be a really great way for us to show that there are many, many people here in Michigan who really believe that Proposal 3 was not a good amendment to our Constitution. You may remember that we actually did just have a Hope Right to Life walk, kind of commemorating the Roe v. Wade, and as well, that one we probably really won't do anymore because really Roe v. Wade has been overturned. It was a great opportunity to get people together, I felt like, in the spring and really just offer them hope. You know, hope in the fact that we know that as we fight forward, we can change the hearts and minds of people. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. So we know that Right to Life of Michigan's mission is passing legislation that fosters respect and protection for human life from fertilization to natural death. And so one of the ways you can actually stay apprised of what's going on is to visit the website, and you can also sign up to get updates as well. So they will send you updates as to what's going on. And it's a great idea, by the way, just to know, who are your legislators, how to get in touch with them, so we can just go ahead and plan to congratulate them when they do the things that we think are really great, including supporting life. It's another great idea as well to just make those connections with them so that you can make your voices known, as many bills are actually being passed right now because of the climate, if you will, at the state level. The Democrats actually do have the ability to just continue to pass and pass and pass bills without sending them to any kind of committee right now because it's really just all on their side at this moment. So I just want to encourage you to make your voices known in that light. We'll be talking about other opportunities as well that you're going to have coming up, but I don't want to reveal everything all at once. So we'll see how the judges are doing. Do we think we're about ready? Okay, so we can have our next contestant.
We have Richard Stansberry tonight. He is a freshman in his home school. Science is his favorite subject, and in his free time, he likes to play the piano, listen to Christian music, sing with his little brother. Your little brother is here, I think, right? Or not? That's not your little brother. Go to nursing home with his church to preach. In addition to participating in this oratory contest, Richard wrote a letter on abortion to our local paper and right before the recent referendum, right? And that we've all been very disappointed about. So he was very courageous in doing that. So we will hear Richard now.
Hi, my name is Richard Stansberry, and I chose to speak about abortion. Abortion is the termination of pregnancy by removal or expulsion of the embryo or fetus. With the abortion that occurs without intervention is known as a miscarriage or spontaneous abortion. These occur in approximately 30% to 40% of pregnancies. According to abortion statistics from the Right to Life website, abortions are not rare. More than 62 million abortions are estimated to have happened in America since 1973, and about 30,000 happen every year in Michigan. Put yourself in those baby's shoes and try to imagine the pain that the baby goes through. That's right, you can't, because the pain the baby goes through is so unbearable the human mind can't comprehend it. According to the Mayo Clinic, your baby's heart and primitive circulatory system will form in the middle layer of cells, in the mesoderm. This layer of cells will also serve as the foundation for your baby's bones, ligaments, kidneys, and much of the reproductive system. The inner layer of cells, the endoderm, is where your baby's lungs and intestines will develop. These develop within the first trimester. You can see on the ultrasound or sonogram the baby crying out in pain as it's being ripped apart limb by limb. People who commit abortion believe that parents get to decide if their child lives or dies. 9 times out of 10, why a woman gets abortion is because their boyfriend or husband does not want the baby and tells his girlfriend or wife to get rid of it or I'm leaving. It's either me or the baby. I'm going to tell you now, no man is worth keeping if they are trying to make you to abort your baby. We hear all the time that it's the woman's body, so it's their choice. Well, actually, it's the baby's body. What about the baby's right to live? What people do not realize is that by committing abortion, there's a slight chance of killing the mother. Well, not only are the mothers affected, but the fathers are also affected by abortion. A while back on Tuesday, November 8, 2022, Michigan had a vote on whether to outlaw or to keep abortion. A month before, I authored an article on abortion entitled, "Help Stop Abortion." The Daily Telegram did not publish it until Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022, 6 days before the voting. Sadly, abortion was not outlawed. Every day, children are adopted by caring families into loving homes. Adoption can sometimes be the best solution to an unplanned pregnancy, but often it is not even considered. For the pregnant woman who is not equipped to be a parent, adoption supplies a positive, life-giving solution to a difficult situation. There are other options, like as I said, adoption. There are people unable to have children, and they would love to adopt that child. When you commit abortion, you are stopping another family from having a child. And guess what grandchildren are? Grandchildren are a gift from God for not killing your own children. The Bible speaks repeatedly against abortion, even though it does not say that word exactly. Exodus 20:13 says, "Thou shalt not kill." Deuteronomy 5:17 states, "Thou shalt not kill." God's sixth commandment is, "Thou shalt not kill." Thou shalt not kill is mentioned a lot in the Bible in diverse ways. Jeremiah 1:5 states, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou comest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." God has a plan for each one of our lives. When you kill that unborn baby, you do not allow it to do the will of God. Matthew 19:18 states, "He saith unto him, which," Jesus said, "Thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness." These are also commandments. Commandments number 6, 7, 8, and 9. The Lord said in his word, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." Matthew 5:21 states, "Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment." Here, the judgment is referring to the judgment seat of Christ, when the Lord comes back to judge this wicked world and all its inhabitants. The Lord is the only one to decide if we live or die. We as people cannot. So please, if you ever decide to commit abortion, please reconsider, because God has a plan for that little baby. That child has a right to live, just as you and I do. Thank you.
All right, this is wonderful. Thank you. So now I'd just like to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about how we change that landscape. Right to Life has been fighting the battle for life since the 1970s. Our local affiliate is working to grow community support and broadening education. This supports the mission of Michigan Right to Life, which is a nonpartisan, non-sectarian, nonprofit organization of diverse and caring people that are united to protect the precious gift of life from fertilization to death. They strive to achieve the passage and ratification of a human life amendment, to educate people on identified right to life issues, and to motivate them to action. They work to encourage community support and participation in programs and legislation that fosters respect and protection for human life, and to promote and support pro-life candidates. We know that passing legislation is not the whole solution, but only part of the puzzle. Our goal has to be changing the hearts and minds of community members and make abortion unthinkable. So how do we do that? Can we start with prayer? Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." We know that God is pro-life by his word. In Genesis 1:27, his word says that God created mankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Then one of my favorite passages, Psalm 139:13-16, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful." I would like to encourage you to keep the cause of life in your thoughts and prayers. I'm excited to share with you that there is a movement to unite Christians in leadership positions to use their influence and talents to legislate, to pray for, and to champion life. And that new group is called She Leads. So She Leads started as She Leads Michigan, and it's growing fast, becoming She Leads America. They are also as well developing a chapter here in Lenawee. So I would encourage you at this time to just go ahead and put that reminder in your phone. You know, your phone is a great place to keep notes during this event. So She Leads is the name of the organization. This group continues to grow and hopes to bring Bible-based solutions to modern-day problems. So their founder is one of our local residents, Liz Doyle from Blissfield, Michigan, and she takes her lead from God. He is doing mighty things through her, so really watch to see more about She Leads. They have many things coming up that I think you might be interested in. As your local affiliate, Right to Life Lenawee is looking to forge new community relationships by holding events that will give pro-life community members a place to network and build relationships. This is the time that we need to come together, to work together, to again change those hearts and minds to protect human life. So as I talk about changing the landscape, our final course of action is to educate. Right to Life offers educational materials and speakers that we hope to be delivering to our local community. We also have our own Care Pregnancy and Family Center representatives here today that you will hear from shortly, giving you further information about their intentions to educate our young people and families to be the best that they can be. So there are 3 ways that I believe we can change our landscape. First and foremost is to keep the cause of life in our daily prayers. The second way is to build community connections using our time and our talents for His work. And third is to educate our community by going against the cultural standards and taking a stand for our beliefs. Finally, then, we can remember in Esther 4:13 through 14, the message that Mordecai sent to Esther was, "Do not imagine that you in the king's palace can escape any more than all the Jews. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this." We are so blessed to live here in the United States of America, and the time has come for us to set aside our selfish interests and stand up for the rights and values and beliefs that we hold dear. I'm especially excited to be a part of this oratory today, where we see just that. We see our young people using their voices to further God's purpose. So thank you all for doing that today. So looking over to the judges, how are we doing? Good to go, all right?
If anyone is just tuning in right now, we're in the middle of our 2023 Right to Life Oratory Contest here in Lenawee County. We've had 2 contestants. Our third contestant is Olivia Spielman. She's a sophomore at Addison High School. She participated in the Oratory Contest last year, which is a great idea. Get the experience early so that you know what you're doing. And so, Olivia, it's great to have you back. She enjoys playing the piano, plays volleyball and softball, and she's the treasurer of her school's Key Club. In the future, she hopes to work with the elderly and maybe even be a medical doctor specializing in working with the elderly. So, Olivia, it's great to have you back tonight for the Oratory Contest.
I will remember that I remain a member of society, with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, though sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm. Those are few of the many words that doctors all across our nation recite before starting their journey in medicine. Remember the latter part of that sentence, though sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm? See, American doctors pledge an oath to serve those with a diminished mental capacity with just as much effort and respect as those without. But what if I told you that our doctors are encouraged to break that oath? There's an effort all across our country, led by so-called advocates, to encourage doctors to pressure women into aborting their babies. This not only, obviously, harms the babies in question, but also deleteriously affects the mental and physical state of women. Dr. Christina Francis, a board chair member of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, even wrote in a USA Today article that while spending time working in Kenya, she found that prenatal diagnoses of defects were more common, but abortions less often. Instead, the effort there was focused on figuring how mothers could spend as much time with their babies who were given life-limiting diagnoses. In the United States, however, we hear of countless women who are given grim news about their unborn babies and told that the most humane option is ending the pregnancy. Women like Lee McManus, who was told that her unborn son would have Down syndrome and was encouraged to abort him, only to find out that he did not in fact have Down syndrome at all. Or Ellen Scott, who was told that her best option was abortion after her baby was diagnosed prenatally with cystic hygroma and hydropsis fetalis, the same baby that was born in perfect health. So the doctors that advocate specifically for the abortion of babies with disabilities aren't only acting eugenically, but they're often missing the mark completely with their diagnoses. But now, let's examine who these efforts are targeted at. A 2016 study sanctioned by Down Syndrome Education International found that in a single year, 8,000 women in the United States chose to do prenatal testing for Down syndrome and received a positive test. But of those 8,000 women, only 5,000 gave birth. 3,000 babies with Down syndrome were aborted in the United States in 1 year alone. That is a 37% abortion rate to an already small population. To put that into perspective, more than 3 out of every 10 children with Down syndrome are denied their life. Thankfully, there has been legislation created to try and counteract this massacre, but not without criticism. For example, the 2017 Missouri Bill SB 96 was created to criminalize selective abortions relating to race, sex, or Down syndrome. In short, this bill prohibits any person from performing an abortion if they know that the woman is seeking termination because of one of the aforementioned reasons. Now, in a 2020 article, the American Civil Liberties Union, a nonprofit organization created, and I quote, "to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to every person in this country by the Constitution and laws of the United States," wrote, in response to bills such as this, that laws criminalizing the selective abortion of Down syndrome babies is hypocritical because it won't solve the underlying problem of ableism in the United States. But what I think is hypocritical is calling yourself an organization focused on protecting civil liberties, but promoting the extinction of a group of people because they're different. What I think is hypocritical is calling yourself a nation focused on liberty, but at the same time discriminating against and exterminating individuals for being different. Because in truth, that is where the problem starts. It starts with influential voices aiding the misconception that Down syndrome and other physical and mental disabilities are something of a curse. It is vital that we stop believing that people with disabilities need to be fixed. Now I ask you this: how can we, as a nation of liberty, sanction an institution which sets forth to eradicate an entire group of people based on uncontrollable traits? I'll answer for you: we can't. Any practice that is heartily entangled with the beliefs of eugenics cannot be good, cannot be right, and it certainly cannot be justified. The very notion of our existence, right here, right now, as American citizens, is to fight for what is right. It is to not look the other way when we see atrocities being committed and swept under the rug. We have to acknowledge the harm, then, like a snake, cut it off at the head. And that starts with disaligning ourselves from the offending party. After all, the body of law governing our nation so generously declares that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now, I'm no judge, but I'd go as far as to say that denying an unborn child life directly goes against this amendment. We're forgetting that we live in a land of equal opportunity with the power to determine who we are and what we believe. The practice of abortion jettisons these ideas. It prevents our fellow citizens-to-be from having the opportunity to experience life. Because with all things considered, life is beautiful. Life is a gift to be cherished. Life also presents us with hardships. Lots of hardships. I'd never say that it doesn't, but it's through these hardships that we are shaped into the people that we are. To deny individuals the chance to love, to learn, and especially to live is an irrevocable error. There are a myriad of blessings to be had, and we need to give all people, regardless of their physical or mental state, the chance to experience them. Thank you.
This is a real treat. Love listening to everyone tonight. Everyone's doing a wonderful job so far. So the next thing I'd kind of like to inform you about, and do feel free if you'd like to grab something to eat or stretch your legs if you'd like. But the next thing I'd like to talk a little bit about is our annual Right to Life banquet that we have coming up on April 13th at the Christian Family Center Marilat Room, and that is located on US 223 in Wolf Creek Highway. So this banquet is important in several ways. It gives us the opportunity to network and build connections with other people who have the same goals. It also gives us the opportunity to be educated about our focus and mission of life from the womb to the tomb. So this year, we will be featuring Amber Roseboom, who currently serves as Vice President of Operations for Right to Life of Michigan. She is a strategic management and crisis communications professional with more than 25 years of experience leading high-stakes, high pro-life initiatives in a variety of different sectors, including 2 presidential administrations, private industry, and nonprofit advocacy organizations. Her interest in the political arena was rooted in defending the right to life for the most vulnerable, and she began her career serving at Right to Life of Michigan in the late 90s, returning to Right to Life of Michigan just last summer. She has been featured on Fox News and has been quoted by CNN, CBS, The Washington Post, and the National Catholic Reporter, just to name a few. On a personal note, Amber is married to her husband, Tim, for 28 years. So finally, this banquet is the perfect opportunity for us to fund this important initiative. This past year, Right to Life spent millions of dollars in campaigns trying to block Proposal 3. It will take that and more to get this constitutional amendment changed. Right to Life has employees to pay and education to distribute. So we invite you to attend, make connections, learn and donate to the cause of life. There are still tickets available, but time is running out. So we do have flyers located here tonight in the lobby. You can connect with me, and you do have my phone number there on your paper. So Julie Moore at 517-902-3099 for more details. So I'm hoping to see quite a few of you this year at the Right to Life banquet. Again, so that we can all network and learn some new things about the direction that Right to Life is headed. Because we do know that with this new amendment, it is an uphill battle for us here in the state of Michigan. So just checking to see, are we good? Looks like the judges are ready. All right, so we can have our next contestant.
Last year, so we have two veterans here. She is a senior at Lenawee Christian School and enjoys playing violin, cheerleading, and participating in the drama department. She's a member of the National Honor Society at her school. Next year, she'll be a freshman in Indiana Wesleyan University, majoring in exercise science. Katie's career goal is to become an occupational therapist and open up her own clinic. She's the middle child. You met one of her sisters already. She has another one at Asbury, right? Katie participated in last year's Oratory. I already told you that, and did place. So again, Katie, we're very glad to have you.
Thank you. In March of 2020, the entire world was hit by a pandemic that changed the course of society. COVID-19 spread exponentially, and we as a society ran around frantically searching for a cure. Thousands of hours and millions of dollars were put towards funding a vaccine. Using embryonic stem cell research, Johnson & Johnson developed a vaccine that has been used to curtail the spread of this deadly virus. This development put embryonic stem cell research in the spotlight, and many argue that they hold the potential for the development of cures for the number of diseases and illnesses. However, such analysis is performed at the cost of destroying life and should not be pursued. Stem cells are pluripotent cells of the body which are undifferentiated. This means that these cells can become any type of body tissue, potentially curing millions of diseases. Because of this potential, stem cell research has been highly wanted in the scientific community. This area of stem cell research involving human embryonic stem cells is particularly interesting because embryonic cells can undergo directed differentiation, whereas adult stem cells have to undergo dedifferentiation before use. In other words, embryonic stem cells are a blank slate, and therefore can be genetically manipulated and controlled. To harvest these cells, however, the embryo must be destroyed. In this lies the heart of the ethical debate about whether destroying a human embryo to harvest these stem cells is moral. Society overall believes that research in itself does not justify the termination of human life. I believe that we can all agree that if we were told to sacrifice a 3-year-old in the name of research, it would constitute murder. Why then is there even a question of embryonic stem cell research? Why then is an embryo as a human life put to research And why are we continuing that research if it's harming? If life begins at conception, then harvesting stem cells from a 6-day-old blastocyst is as morally abhorrent as harvesting organs from a baby. Embryonic stem cell research should be treated as a grisly form of murder. It gets worse. Continuing this line of research would involve the mass creation of human embryos and their repeated destruction. This would be human experimentation of the most horrific sort, using the helpless and most vulnerable as lab rats, and then discarding them, violating their human rights and supporting a type of genocide that we've never even seen before. Supporters of embryonic stem cell research would argue that this description is an exaggeration and that it is not murder to isolate a set of embryonic cells that would already be going to waste. However, embryonic stem cells must be harvested from a fetus. During the harvesting process, a blastocyst is destroyed. With new scientific advances, there is now no question that a blastocyst is a form of human life. These cells grow, reproduce, and change. Although scientists may disagree on the value of life inside the womb, they have agreed that there is a point in which the embryo begins to develop pre-organ structures. They limit embryonic research to the first 14 days of life. The limitation validates the notion that an embryo is alive from day one. While the arguments in support of embryonic stem cell research may be well-intentioned, some have several flaws. A main claim made by many supporters is that all embryos used in this research will be destroyed anyways. This argument devalues life, proposing that life is disposable and that the unborn have no inherent values other than being a tool to be utilized and discarded. However, research on and destruction of these embryos are not the only option. One alternative involves the donation of embryos to couples struggling with infertility. And with creative thinking, other options will be found. A second claim made is that research on embryonic stem cells is essential for the betterment of society. By refusing to harvest and use them for research, we are killing thousands of people unnecessarily, is their argument. This argument, however, is false. Adult stem cells are a viable option and can be harvested without harm to the person. Within the last 3 years, scientists have discovered new technologies that make embryonic research unnecessary. It is now possible to take multipotent stem cells from adults and turn them back into pluripotent cells. This new form has the same characteristics and potential as embryonic stem cells. In addition, current research shows that utilizing embryonic stem cells can be unsafe and is likely to lead to serious abnormalities and birth defects. Today, when we look back at history, we recognize the heinous nature of experimentation on humans. Yet we are again justifying the experimentation of living fetuses. This is alarming. A stand needs to be taken. We need to enact a legally enforceable moratorium preventing live fetal experimentation. We cannot sit back and compromise the moral standards that define human civilization for the further acquisition of scientific knowledge. There comes a point at which manipulation of life's natural processes crosses an ethical boundary. Our practices must remain ethical and uphold the value of human life, as this is the cornerstone of human society. Let's stand up, educate ourselves and others, and provide alternative strategies for protecting our most vulnerable population. It is up to us. We cannot remain silent, and we cannot wait until tomorrow. We cannot stand back and wait for someone else to take up the fight. Embryonic stem cell research is a pathway that needs to be blocked at all costs because the consequences of further moving down the road are catastrophic. Thank you.
All right, so next, what I would like to do is just take a minute to look at the direction of our local Right to Life group. We know that over time, change is necessary and inevitable. And one of the ways we hope to do this is to invite members of the community to fellowship together, make connections, and spread the word about our mission to change the landscape, or change public sentiment about the life and importance of choosing life. I would like to start this endeavor by inviting up to 30 women, starting with pastors' wives. So looking for pastors' wives that might be interested in coming to this event. and their guests to come to breakfast at Lenawee Christian the morning of Saturday, May 6th. So if you'd like to invite your pastor's wife to breakfast, we would love to share our vision of changing the landscape and fellowshipping together to make new connections. Though this is only the first in what I hope to be a series of events that would bring pro-life minded individuals that each have their own special talents to sow into our ministry of changing hearts and minds for life. We are also hoping to expand our monthly meetings to include speakers and programs to help educate our community. We have, however, at this time had a little bit of a problem with our Facebook page and our web presence. So I'd like to steer any questions about our group to my phone number, which again you do have listed there, or to our email, Lenawee County RTL, so right to life, @gmail.com. So we do have that date printed in your flyer, and I'm happy to take reservations, so we would appreciate reservations for that event. The rest of the evening that we have tonight then is going to be highlighting some of the programs and opportunities that we have available for you from our own Lenawee Care Pregnancy and Family Center here in Lenawee. So what I'd like to do is just take a minute to maybe touch on a couple of the programming that they have that you probably won't hear about from someone else. So I have been volunteering with our local Care Pregnancy and Family Center for the last 3 years, starting as a facilitator with their Bright Course program, which is a program where they give instructions to new moms, and those instructions then end up earning them baby bucks, which they can then choose to purchase items from the baby boutique. And you're going to be hearing more things about that as well coming up. Another program that we have there is our sexual risk avoidance training that we have to offer for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so we've been blessed to be able to take this program for the last 3 years to Lenawee Christian. It's been a wonderful group of people to work with. And this time we just finished our second set of classes for the year with our high schoolers. And this is the second time our high schoolers had come through the program. So they were there both for the 8th grade and the 10th grade program. So it was really great to build that rapport with them, bring the message back to them, and hear the kinds of things that they learn from, one year to the other. So it's been a pleasure to do that, and we're hoping to take that into the community as well. Of course, knowing that more volunteers are always great and a blessing to have. The other program that's just brand new that we're just offering is the Resilient Kids program. So there are 40 attributes that studies suggest be obtained by our youth so that they can grow up to be productive and happy, well-adjusted adults. And so out of those 40 attributes, they encourage parents to at least instill 30 of them in our students. And so that's what this new program, Resilient Kids, we're taking to the community. And what that is actually 13 weeks, so kind of a commitment, 13 weeks of programming that they're going to come in and learn about those 40 attributes and how to go ahead and instill those into the program. So we've heard some really great things in other communities that have had this program more than once, really making a change in people's lives. So we're thankful to be able to bring that to the community as well. So how are we doing? Are we getting there? Or okay? All right, so we're going to invite up our next contestant.
And final contestant in our 2023 Lenawee County Right to Life Oratory Contest is Katie Richardson. She's a senior at Lenawee Christian School. She's on the National Honor Society, on the debate team, in Spanish Club, and on the worship team. She runs cross country and plays soccer and is a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo, as well as being certified to teach Taekwondo. She recently spent part of her January term with Dr. Sherfan and she was in the operating room during baby deliveries. She's thinking about specializing in obstetrics or maybe becoming a physician assistant or a doctor of optometry, correct? So we welcome Katie tonight to the oratory contest, and whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Mainstream culture portrays abortion as healthcare and violently degrades any opposing view, yet abortion itself promotes vicious and unprovoked murder. Allowing abortion to exist violates the right to choose that pro-choice proponents thrust onto everyone, leaving millions of mothers and babies without a choice. Current-day culture craftily employs manipulation to take advantage of vulnerable mothers. Like kidnappers luring lost children away with the promise of candy, modern-day media and culture beguile vulnerable mothers into choosing abortion. Beyond the manipulation of millions of mothers, the idea behind abortion creates a disregard for human life and a blatant disregard for fundamental human rights. Allowing and even encouraging the murder of millions violates the right to life and enables culture to dictate the morality and legality of murder. A cultural majority asserts that banning abortion creates an injustice and a war on reproductive health care when encouraging abortion destroys a life. Pro-abortion proponents believe that prohibiting abortion denies bodily autonomy and makes an oppressive agenda that specifically impacts marginalized people. This phrasing pushes the idea of a woman's right to bodily autonomy to bring attention away from the true injustice and the silent stripping of voices and independence from millions of unborn infants. The outcry for rights and the ability to choose masks itself in a positive light and twists the emotions of the vulnerable, making lies seem like truth and wrongs seem like right. This argument focuses on a woman's right to choose what she does with her body, but refuses to acknowledge that the human growing within her became a separate entity at conception. In this single-sided argument, injustice comes from treating unborn children as less than human. After conception, the fetus has a different and unique genetic code than the mother, differentiating that clump of cells at a genetic level from the mother. Even though the fetus immediately develops a unique genetic code, most pro-abortionists argue that this does not qualify it as a human worthy of rights and fair treatment. The deception behind phrases like oppressive, healthcare, and clump of cells used by abortion advocates exploits the vulnerable, disguises the truth, and sways the majority. Pro-abortion advocates attempt to play God by offering abortion as a viable choice and labeling this procedure as a healthcare service. Those who still lobby for the right of choice successfully create an impossible situation where abortion becomes the only possible option. An estimated 43% of Planned Parenthood's revenue, which was $553.7 million in 2015, comes from the government, while pregnancy resource centers receive around $89 million. These statistics show that choosing anything other than abortion becomes difficult. These proponents claim they stand for choice while not being supportive of different options and of those parents who choose life for their unborn children. Not only does this actively limit expecting mothers' options, but it also manipulates the idea of choice. Out of the limited options, abortion, a healthcare procedure, carrying the connotation of receiving care conducive to good health, becomes the quick, easy, and only option. The savage ripping of unborn children's limbs from their mother's womb, the aggressive suctioning of their defenseless bodies away, and the vicious scraping of their remnants brutally kill. Yet many still thinly veil this violence with the label of healthcare. Humans do not have the right to kill other humans. Only God can decide who lives and dies. Deuteronomy 32:39. Furthermore, supporters of pro-choice movement consider abortion a healthcare service, and laws banning or restricting abortion are bad science and actively dangerous. In this view, a good scientist supports abortion, even when allowing abortion to exist permits one to play at God. Now, the definition of a good scientist and doctor becomes one that allows abortion to continue, all while violating the Hippocratic oath to provide convenient murder of children that is creatively labeled a right. While popular culture frames abortion as health care and a reproductive right, allowing abortion creates a health hazard and a reproductive blight. Even more, abortion advocates dare to assert that banning abortion will cost lives. Pro-abortion proponents propose abortion as a primary healthcare need and go so far as to claim that, given the millions of women who have had abortions, if severe reaction were common, there would be an epidemic of women seeking treatment. On the contrary, adverse event reports for mifepristone used as an abortifacient, of these, 20 were deaths, 529 were life-threatening, 1,957 were severe, 151 were moderate, and 3 were mild. This evidence reveals the shocking realities behind the abortion procedure. By focusing on the obvious solution and the freedom abortion offers women, pro-abortion advocates overlook, conceal, and ignore the deeper health problems that impact millions of women who choose abortion based on a false reality. When my parents found out I was pregnant, I don't remember any discussion about options. I remember much talk about how irresponsible I was and how this could wreck my life, and the obvious solution. I was dead and numb. My mom took me to the clinic. I paid for the abortion myself. It was awful. I was going against something my heart knew was wrong. In the years that followed, Elizabeth drank alcohol regularly, found herself in abusive relationships, and had several more pregnancies. When abortion becomes the only choice and a culture of convenience takes over, thousands of women choose based on false information without real options. Testimonies like this become commonplace, yet concealed by the media. Abortion does not free women, and this healthcare necessity causes even more complications than the proposed benefits proponents of this procedure spread. To truly see the evils of abortion, one must look deeper than the science to see the fundamental rights and humanity that exist to protect the vulnerable and strong, male and female members of our society. Beyond the scientific details, the truth of this matter exists in all individuals' fundamental rights. The idea of abortion violates the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The idea of stated in the Declaration of Independence. All victims of abortion lose their most basic right to life and others' pursuit of happiness. This mentality creates a self-centered society willing only to defend their right to happiness while mercilessly ripping the right to life away from others. Like the involuntary ripping of your mind from your body before you can even speak, like the refusal of society to be identified as a person or even as alive, like a silent cry for help that no one acknowledges or hears, unborn children lose the chance at life. These children lose the opportunity of life through thoughtless murder and complete disregards for their life. Life and children become disposable, all for the benefit of an individual. The violence and disregard for these children create a society where life is not valuable and murder becomes a convenient solution. Instead of demanding abortion gives women the best and only option, culture needs to look further and offer real solutions to these women. Society needs to provide real solutions like improving the foster care system, making counseling services available to expecting mothers, and increasing funding for pregnancy resource centers to give women the best possible option and the next generation the best chance at the future. Thank you.
Great segue. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate that. My name's Kathy Anderson. I'm a recent board addition at CPC of Lenawee, Care Pregnancy Center of Lenawee. And Julie already mentioned some of the programs that we have in place at CPC. But what I wanted to talk about was abortion in the church. And so it's, CPC comes alongside churches because we ultimately are looking for abundant life, that everyone would know abundant life through Christ. Unfortunately, the statistics are staggering of the number of abortions within the church. And so, 2 out of 5 women were attending church regularly at the time of their first abortion. Yet many of the women interviewed, and the research shows, never even reached out to anybody within the church when they found out that they were pregnant, in an unplanned pregnancy. The reason that they say that they didn't do that is because they were afraid of being judged or called out on this. So I want to talk about Making Life Disciples, which is a new training program that we've added at CPC. And, sort of the basis or the foundation of it is that while sin may have led to a pregnancy, being in a state of motherhood, in a state of pregnancy, in and of itself is not a sin. And we also feel that many churches would come alongside and would love to come alongside women and men who are in situations where they find that they themselves or their partner are in an unplanned pregnancy, but they're afraid to do that. And so what Making Life Disciples is it's a program, as I mentioned, that teaches people within the church to offer help, compassion, hope, and ongoing discipleship to people facing unplanned pregnancies. So the Making Life Disciples curriculum has been established by CareNet, and CPC is an affiliate of CareNet. CareNet has approximately 1,100 pregnancy centers across the United States, and it's actually the Making Life Disciples curriculum it's a practical, non-political training which equips first responders in the church. So we obviously don't want to see abortion happening within the church or anywhere, but definitely not within the church. So it's a Christ-like response to the abortion issue. It starts with the gospel. It helps to better understand people in the situations that they're in when they're facing unplanned pregnancy. And it also provides training in communication, and it trains people in the options that are available to them in the situation. It also instructs on tools available to the first responders as they walk alongside these people and try to love on them and make sure that they understand all of their choices and that they're able to make the right choice for their baby. And it also, in the end, provides great next steps when the training is complete, practical steps that the church can take. So Making Life Disciples, the next training is actually coming up very soon. We're scheduling that. Probably it'll start within the next 4 to 6 weeks. And if you're interested in finding out more about that or participating, just call CPC and let them know that you're interested in that, and we can get you more information.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
So what we're going to do now is the judges will leave and collaborate. So our contestants tonight were Richard Stansberry, Olivia Spielman, Katie Shane, Sam Shane, and Katie Richardson. So those 5 contestants are eagerly awaiting the judges' results. So the judges are going to leave and collaborate and come back and announce the winner. And so while they're out doing that, we have asked Margaret Duffy to come, and Margaret Duffy is the board chairman for the Care Pregnancy and Family Resource Center of Lenawee. She's going to come and talk to you a little bit about some of the things that are happening at CPC. So, Margaret, we welcome you to the oratory contest tonight.
Thank you so much. It's such a blessing to be here. It's amazing how many connections the CPC of Lenawee has just in this room. We're going to see a video where Juliana makes a presentation of what's going on at the CPC right now. And so we're going to just start with that so you can get an idea of what's happening, updated by actually, as I said, one of our judges. So if you can go ahead and start with that video, that would be great. Thank you.
CPC of Lenawee was established in 1984 as a response to a critical need in our community to help pregnant women who are struggling to make a life-affirming decision, suffering through a loss, or experiencing regret from having made a different choice. We also started serving the physical needs of our clients by providing them with essential items for their child. We established a fatherhood program so that both parents can work together as they make critical decisions at this crucial time. But now, we're realizing that we need to not just focus on the parents, but on the entire family, and not just on the present, but also on the future. As we have expanded our services to meet the needs of our community, we are now facing challenges as we strive to answer this call. Our current space limitations are now holding us back from giving our clients the success they deserve. Our women deserve an opportunity to thrive in a safe space to heal. Our men deserve a chance to learn how to be the father they might not have had. Our parents deserve to choose an abundant life for themselves and their families. Thanks to your support, We have already created a community space in our building on Front Street so that we can host group classes, demonstrations, and other important meetings. We now need to expand the areas we can use in that building so that our clients have dedicated space for the services that they rely on us to provide. We are relying on you, our faith community, to help us make this critical next step. We need your financial support to make this happen. Now is the time to sow seeds of hope for a better tomorrow. Now is the time to make a life-giving, life-changing difference in our community. Now is the time to put your faith into action. Visit us today to become a part of this important mission.
For the CPC, we're celebrating our 39th birthday, and we did that by having an open house at our new Family Resource Center. Now, the thing is that we have a long way to go as far as this being fully operational, but the wonderful thing is we had our guests come in last night and write scripture or prayers on the door frames of the entire building. So this is an old Victorian house. It's right on the other side of the parking lot, so easy access between our current location and the future home of the Family Resource Center. We had over 120 guests, and just know if you want to come and see the building, just call the center and you can make a plan with our executive director, Roxanne Meeks, to come and see what God is doing. You can see how he's already finished that community space that we use on a regular basis. That's where the Making Life Disciples class was held. That's where the Resilient Kids training will take place, as well as learning how to nurse your baby, as how to do CPR with children. So we are a resource already for the community. And this is going to be an incredible opportunity for our families to come and get the support they need to be the success that they desire. And that's the thing. We all know that kids don't come with a manual, do they? No, they don't. We have to learn as we go. And sometimes our family of origin is not the best source. But we know who is. That's the author and the creator of life. That is God himself. And so women and men who come through the CPC right now have the opportunity to get those life skills, to learn what prenatal care looks like, to learn what it means they hear the gospel. And this is the most exciting thing that we think that God is doing, not only in Lenawee, but in the care pregnancy field. There's really no one else out there who is doing what we are doing right here in Lenawee, creating this Family Resource Center to piggyback with the Care Pregnancy Center. So it's an amazing thing. So if you see that big purple building behind the CPC, that is part of our campus. And we are right now moving into our second phase. The first phase was turning a garage into that community space. Didn't look very much like a garage anymore, did it? So we're moving into our second phase, which is going to be transforming that entire first floor into usable space with classrooms, a couple of offices, some more community space, a beautiful room up front where you can meet for Bible studies, or even things where you are having to have more than just a one-on-one with a client. So we're just going to take a look at what that looks like. What does it mean to be a client at the CPC? Well, you can see right here, where's my click, this one, that, okay. Is it this one right here? This one, right? Okay. And it's not moving forward. So that's okay, I have notes. Okay. So the thing is that the CPC, we have, there we go. So what are we all about? Our mission statement is to facilitate the change in hearts and lives. Because you know what, that was the thing. After Prop 3 passed, in one of our board meetings, we had kind of a download. And one of our pastors came and said, nothing has changed. We were like, what? He said, because the thing is, look at our mission statement. It's about changing hearts. That is still something we are doing every day, and it is a one-on-one event that happens with our clients at the CPC. And you all know that you have the opportunity to speak to people one-on-one through those relationships that you already have to change hearts. And that's what we're doing at the CPC. So if you like doing that, come on by. You can be a volunteer and meet with some of our clients. So why is our purpose is to elevate God's plan for the sacredness of life, sexuality, and family in our community. So you can see now how both sides of the parking lot of the CPC are fulfilling this mission. I don't know if I'm going to be using that or go forward. So what do we do? What do we offer our community members at the CPC? So we have pregnancy resources. We have, that's not where I thought I was going. Let me just go. There we go. Okay. So we have medical services that are available. So that's our prenatal care, that is pregnancy testing, and those are also our limited ultrasounds. We have our client advocacy services. So we have pregnancy decision coaching, letting women know, okay, if you don't want to be a mom, that's okay. Just give this baby a chance for life. So that's what we call our decision coaching, that you can do. You can co-parent. Maybe your parents will end up parenting your child. The child can be put up for adoption. And also, what does it mean when you have an abortion? Because we will know, we have heard tonight, that is not something that people talk about. That is why we also have something called the morning after, MOURNING. That is because women who make a choice to take a life, there is a repercussion for them. And we don't want them to go through life suffering for decades because they made a choice, a bad one, but that they can find forgiveness and healing and restoration through our Morning After program that is also available for men. That is also available for men. Because there are times where men say, well, she can go ahead and make the decision, and then they realize what they have done. So it's not exclusive to women. And it's an incredibly liberating opportunity. It restores them to health. Because as we saw earlier, almost half of the women in the church have had an abortion themselves. So I think this is the most exciting thing. And this is why we've had to expand into what we fondly call the Purple House. Because we have been running a program called Earn While You Learn. And that is having classes, everything from prenatal care to how to deal with toddler tantrums to how should you handle technology as your child grows. As my favorite part are the fatherhood classes. But these are facilitated where a parent just meets one-on-one with one of our volunteers, which is maybe something you might like to find yourself doing. Parents come through, and every time they take a class, they earn something called boutique bucks, and that's where they take their money. I mean, I was in there one day when a mom who was gainfully employed, she had a great job, and she came in and she took classes at the CPC. You do not have to be destitute and desperate to take advantage of the CPC. Men and women of all walks of life, all economic spheres, stratas, take advantage of our resources. Because she came in and she had earned herself a brand new crib, and we got to custom order it for her. So that's the thing, is it's not just for women who don't have any other support. If you are single, there's a mom who came in. She's happily married, has 3 kids, was expecting her 4th, and was in there taking advantage of the resources at the CPC. Because you can come in and everything you get is free. All it requires is your time and dedication to learning on how to become a better parent. So that's kind of a win-win situation. One of the favorite things I love about what we do at the CPC is helping fathers learn how to be fathers. We all know the value of the fathers that we had in our lives, whether it was good or whether it was bad, and how that can even influence our relationship with Christ. So we have fathers who come in who were not taught how to be a father, but they so want to be a great dad. so they can come in and learn how to be a father with one of our male mentors, which we never have a lack of. So any of you gentlemen in the audience, please know that you are welcome to become one of our mentors and see a young man grow up into the man God has created him to be. So we also help with life skills because, there are clients who come in, they don't know how to get a job. They don't know how to apply for an apartment. They don't know how to make life work. I mean, those of us who come from great families, this is what we learned growing up underneath the roof of our parents. But that's not true for everybody. You guys know that. So we have the opportunity to teach them life skills, how to create a career path. What would that educational path look like? Just talking to Julianne today, she's got a couple options after she graduates in May. She's either going to go on to graduate school or she has a full-time job. But some women and men are so overwhelmed by that, they don't know what to do. We also can help them, like I mentioned before. Okay, how do I get an apartment? How do I do that? We could probably all do that with our eyes closed, but this is not common knowledge. This is just because you've had the opportunity to do it for yourself or have somebody walk you through that. Even things like budgeting. How can we make the money that we have coming in not be less than the money we have going out? Most of us have learned that by trial and error, but wouldn't it be nice to learn that early on so that you don't have to struggle with, oh no, there's another bounce check, another overdraft fee? No, you can learn how to do this at the CPC with our Earn While You Learn program. So some of the additional services are, again, the material assistance. I haven't done the math, but I think you could basically outfit an entire nursery by coming through the CPC. I mentioned the crib, you can get strollers, you can get high chairs, you can get car seats, you can get blankets, you can get clothing, you can get shoes, all the way up to about 3 years old. You can get blankets and bedding, you can get formula, you can get diapers, you can get wipes. Whatever you need, you can get at the CPC. That's what we mean when we say material support. We have our community referrals. If we don't, like I mentioned before, there's so many women in here and men who are already connected with the CPC. So if you have a need and we can't fill it, we can get you to the person who will. We have our post-abortive care, which I've already touched on, and then our supervised visitation. We work with the Friends of the Court so that we can provide that support for parents who are struggling, want to be able to see their children, but cannot do it alone. Maybe they don't have family members who are approved, but people can come from the court system to the CPC to have those supervised visitations. And it is such a delight of ours to see when parents are able to be reunited with their children. And we've played a part in making that happen. And then church referrals, just like Kathy was talking about how we have our Making Life Disciples. Okay, this is where you live and you have limited transportation. Let's hook you up with a church in your neighborhood so that we are actually helping parents, whether they are single, whether they are a couple, whether they are parenting separately, find a way to that pro-abundant life. These are the courses. We're not going to go through them all. These are the courses that we offer through the Earn While You Learn program. And when a client comes in, it's not just like, well, okay, this is, you're in your first trimester and you're single, so these are the classes you get. You're in your second trimester and you're married, so these are the classes you get. No, every client is worked with on a one-by-one individual basis. What skills do you need? And that is how their curriculum is determined. Because we know that the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. But who has come to give life, that we may have it more abundantly? Jesus. And that's our greatest joy, when we can share Jesus with our clients. And the thing is that we know that Planned Parenthood, it's transactional. We know how much of our taxpayer dollars they get, and we also know how much money they make, because it's not about caring about the woman. We know that. It's a transaction, like going and buying mouthwash at Walmart. It's simply a transaction. But if through the CPC or any of the other pregnancy resource centers throughout the country, we look for transformation in our clients. Transformation that we all know comes through the gospel. So it's, again, you create a relationship with your clients. You don't have a different facilitator when you come in. You have a relationship with that facilitator. She or he is the person you work with every time you come to the CPC. We make a covenant with them because we are covenant people. And it is a place of ministry. I like to think of the CPC as being a missions outpost. We are a missions outpost for the church to be able to reach those who have found themselves unexpectedly expecting a child. So we can then bring them to Christ and then into the church. And this is might be a little hard to see, but we talked about the types of support that we offer. We have the emotional, we have the material, we have the physical support. We, of course, provide the spiritual support. You can come, and many of our clients come and take advantage of our weekly Bible studies held on Mondays. They come because they want to learn. They come because they want to grow. And then we can get them connected with a church. Now, I'll kind of dissect this diagram for you a little bit. We have the PRC down there in the corner, that little right angle. C is conception. B is birth. So that's the small part that we at the CPC can play in the life of a family, in the life of a child. The reason why it's so important to get them hooked up with the church is that we can take them through and support them till about 3 years old. Then what? We've got another 15 years that these parents need support. They need guidance. They need discipleship. So that's why Making Life Disciples, and St. John's has been a huge proponent of this, to come alongside and say, okay, how can we open our arms and our hearts and our minds to this woman coming in who has found herself pregnant, but is wanting the hope that we can all offer through Christ. Because that's how we cover that span of the next 15 years. That's how we do it. So the CPC is a starting point, but as you can see, the church is the end goal, because that is where we find the abundant life. And that's why we talk about we're not just pro-life, we are pro-abundant life. Because we don't want to see them leave and then come back again and leave and come back again with no hope and saying, well, at least I have the CPC. No, we want them to find Christ. We want them to find that abundant life that will far outlive even the raising of their children. So that's what the CPC is all about. And really, if any of you, like Juliana, she was one of our interns. And you can come as an intern, you can come as a volunteer, you can come as a facilitator, you can come and, if you want to come and help, we will find a place for you. And especially as we continue to grow with our Family Resource Center, we're going to need even more of you. So if you have gifts in kind, that there's a skill set you have. We have a couple who, they have a painting company. They have already volunteered to paint the interior of the new Family Resource Center. So you can give financially, you can give of your time, you can give of your talents. Whatever they are, come and see how you can be a part of what God is doing in our community. And I don't know about you, but I love being subversive so that people come into the CPC. Maybe they just need to know how to take care of their toddler, and we can bring them to the author and the giver of life. We can show them who Jesus is. And the most beautiful thing I love about being a part of the CPC is that we give people a hand up. We are not providing handouts. That's not what we do. We give them a hand up so that they can have an opportunity to know Christ and to make him known in their own lives. So thank you all, and I hope that you will find your way to the CPC in whatever form or fashion the Lord prompts in your heart, because we would love to see you a part of what God is doing there. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. I'll take that clicker from you. Thank you. Margaret Duffy is such a benefit to this community. I think you realize that she has quite a gift that she is giving to the community as the chairman of the board for the Care Pregnancy Center. And she only found out last night that she was filling in because Roxanne Meeks, who is the executive director of the Care Pregnancy Center, was called away to Grand Rapids for a wonderful thing, which was seeing two of her grandchildren in a play. So we so appreciate Margaret coming and telling you about the Care Pregnancy Center during the time when the judges are diligently trying to, not quite there, Jamie. And now I see the judges out there. So the judges are ready to announce the winners. Oh, 5 contestants. Are you shaking in your shoes? We had Sam Shane and Richard Stansberry, Olivia Spielman, Kate Shane, and Katie Richardson as our 5 contestants in the 2023 Right to Life Oratory Contest in Lenawee County. The first place winner will receive a $100 check, $200 check. I keep doing that. Second place winner, $100, and the third place winner, $50. So we're delighted that you guys have participated and that you're developing your voice for life. Was it so fun to listen to Jamie Stiver, last year's Right to Life Oratory Contest winner? And I forgot to tell you guys when she came up here, she went to the state contest and she placed second for Lenawee County. Wow. That was so exciting to hear. So one of you has the opportunity to do that as well. So we have the winner. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have all 5 of them come up. Okay. So if you'd like to come up, we're going to give you a certificate. The Lenawee County Right to Life organization. So, why don't we have Sam up first? So, Sam, you were the first one. So, Sam, come up. And then Richard, stand next to Sam. Olivia next to Richard. And then Kate next to her. And then Katie. So, this is the order that they presented. And if you want to come up and give them their certificate. So, the Lenawee County Right to Life board is handing them a certificate. Do you have a helper with the roses, or do you need a helper? Yeah. Jamie's going to come up. Yay! Jamie's here, and she's going to help hand them each a certificate and a rose. And thank you, all 5 of you, for doing this, whether you're first place or second or third or fourth or fifth. Thank you. And so we want to acknowledge that by giving you a certificate. So first, if you want to go ahead and hand them out.
I just told her to wait for my names. Okay.
You're going to go ahead? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, this was very, very close, and our judges were deliberating back there with a lot of headaches. So we thank you all for coming, and we know you put a lot of work into this. Our third place is Katie Richardson.
And Katie will receive a check for $50 from Lenawee County Right to Life.
And our second place winner was Katie Shane.
Yay! And Katie Shane will receive a $100 check from Lenawee County Right to Life.
And our first place winner was Olivia Spielman.
And Olivia Spielman will receive a check for $200 from Lenawee County Right to Life. So we can give certificates also to Richard and Sam and roses as well. And so we just thank you all for participating tonight. And so afterwards, if you'll stay, and we'll take some pictures after our live stream is done. But we want to thank all of you for coming to the Lenawee County 2023 Right to Life Oratory Contest. And Olivia, right? I got that right? Olivia Spielman is the winner. So yeah, the winner is okay. So, I went too far. I went too far. Tech booth, if you can help me. My final slide. We just wanted to thank all of you for coming tonight. We also want to thank Lenawee County Right to Life. Chris and I are just the co-chairs. This is what we do. The Right to Life organization, and Julie Moore is the chairman of the board, president. So we thank her. And we thank the people in the tech booth, the media people from St. John's Lutheran Church, Ken Kintner and Mike Allman. Because of them, we can live stream. So that is so cool. So thank you very much for watching the live stream, and thank you for being in the audience. We also want to thank the judges who volunteered their time tonight, Paul Palpin, Mark Lenz, and Juliana Lark. The contestants, thank you very much, and best wishes to you. And the Lenawee Right to Life affiliate board members provided the monetary awards, your certificates, your roses, and there's treats out in the narthex. So please stick around, talk to the kids, engage them, because now they have a voice for life. So we encourage you to do that. Don't just get up and walk out, but please do that. And thank you very much for watching this live stream of the Lenawee County 2023 Right to Life Oratory Contest.